distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, members of the clergy, educators, and friends in the mission. I am Maria Corazon Sunga, and I am from the Philippines. The Philippines is the island where the first Portuguese navigator, Ferdinand Magellan, set foot in 1521. So we're very glad that we have reached this country. Some of my colleagues are there also from the Philippines. I am honored and privileged to stand before you today to share a vital chapter in the history of mission and education in Asia, particularly in the Philippines during the pivotal era from 1940 to 1960. Are we
PowerPoint is being prepared. PowerPoint is being prepared. Yeah.
Our focus is on the transformative work of the Congregation of the Presentation of Mary, whose quiet yet powerful presence in the Philippines has left an enduring impact on Filipino society and continues to inspire generations. I think my PowerPoint is not working right now. Yeah. Anyway, I think Saint Marie Rivi will intercede for me.
Sorry for this.
So may I just continue?
Oh yeah, look at the PowerPoint. It's over
I
there.
must admit that mine is not as deep as the speakers 2 days ago. Mine is more of my personal experience with the PM. I'm a PM girl through and through. I got my basic education with the PM sisters, and I'm working with them right until the present, and I hope to retire with the PM as well. And I will promise to be very brief. I hope I will not exceed the 20 minutes with my talk. So to understand the role and mission of the Presentation of Mary during this period, we must first contextualize the backdrop of the 20th century Asia. In the early 1900s, Asian families were largely patriarchal, grounded in communal values and anchored in agrarian economies. Life evolved around land, tradition, and the rhythms of village life. You can see there in the pictures the first Asian inhabitants of the place. Yet, by the mid-century, industrialization and colonial legacies began reshaping these traditional patterns. Families faced shifting roles, cultural changes, and new expectations, especially around education, gender, and religion. The 1940s, of course, were overshadowed by the devastation of World War II. Across Asia, and notably in the Philippines, the war resulted in economic collapse, widespread poverty, and disruptions in education. Schools were destroyed, children displaced, and an entire community were left to rebuild from ruins. In the 1950s, this marked a time of post-war reconstruction. Governments and faith-based institutions focused on economic recovery, rebuilding infrastructure, and reforming educational systems. But still, illiteracy remained high, especially in rural areas, and low wages meant that education was out of reach for many. It was in this moment of vulnerability and hope that missionary education emerged as a beacon, and with it, the call to serve through the presentation of Mary. So we go now to the context of the Philippines in 1940s to 1960s. In the Philippines, particularly in the Davao region, the missionary presence expanded through the work of the Paris Foreign Missions Society, better known as the PME Fathers. Their mission extended beyond religious conversion. Although I believe and I heard in the speech of the previous speakers 2 days ago, a lot of congregations, priests, actually have reached the lands of the Philippines. We have Augustinians, Franciscans, Dominicans, the Recollects, and of course the Jesuits were there. And it was the Jesuits actually who turned over the parishes to the PME Fathers. Not only parishes that the priests built, they also planted and uplifted community life and recognized the urgent need for educational institutions. So if you go to the Philippines right now and to the PM schools, our schools are really built at the back of the church. So you will always see that, and a lot of our schools are named Holy Cross, and the name of the place is there, like our school, Holy Cross College of Calinan. So during the 1940s, Catholic education was sparse and mostly concentrated in urban areas. The war decimated the country's educational infrastructure, leaving countless children without access to learning. When formal instruction began in the parochial schools, along with the missionary work of the priests assigned in Mindanao, communities and churches grew up so fast. A large number of children who needed catechetical and formal instruction called for more trained teachers under the auspices of the church. By the 1950s, as hope and faith converged, local bishops and the PME fathers sought help. In response to the growing need, they turned to the Congregation of the Presentation of Mary, whose charism of education and service resonated with the times. This is where the Sisters of the Presentation of Mary are called for, to radiate and participate in the great evangelical and educational mission of the Church. You can see there first graduates of our students in the 1950s, 60s. Now we proceed to the history of the Presentation of Mary in the Philippines. I believe these are the first sisters who set foot in the land. On October 26, 1950, the first 4 American Presentation of Mary sisters from Manchester, New Hampshire, United States of America, on Philippine soil upon the invitation of Reverend Father George Dion, the OMI of Siasi, Sulu. With the help of Father Dion's blood sister, Sister Clarice Dion PM, and his mother who had visited Siasi, this is somewhere in the other part of the island where the Muslims are, he was able to convince Mother Superior, St. John d'Arc, to send 4 lovely souls of Sister Pauline, Sister Nathalie, Sister Lawrence, and Sister Mary of the Angels to come and teach at Notre Dame of Fatima, now Notre Dame of Siasi. This is in Sulu, Hulo. Their mission was clear. Yeah. These are the four sisters. Their mission was clear: to establish Catholic educational institutions where none existed, and to serve the spiritual and intellectual needs of young Filipinos. They began to establish schools in underserved provinces, integrating Catholic values with academic excellence. These were not simply places of instruction, though. They were spaces of transformation, community building, and as what we have been saying 2 days already, of hope. In 1953, the sisters received the invitation from the PME fathers to come to Davao. Previously, I was talking about Mindanao in the Muslim areas. Now we're going to Davao in our place. The sisters in Turil, no? Where they were offered to administer the parish school, St. Peter High School. In 1954, the sisters opened another mission in Holo, Sulu, and they administered the Notre Dame of Holo until 1959. After they left the Muslim provinces, the sisters stayed in the provinces of Davao and Cotabato. They established a novitiate in Catalunan Grande, Davao City, and opened it to the Filipinos who were interested to become sisters of the Presentation of Mary. The Philippine mission was then erected into a region attached to the province of Manchester. Sister Rita St. Laurent was named the first regional director, or superior, I'm sorry. This prompted the sisters to establish the regional house to administer their apostolate in the Philippine region. Sister Irene Dion was named second regional superior. Sister Stella Marie de Leon and Maria Mercedes Temple PM were the first two Filipino sisters who made their profession. In 1958, the PM sisters took over the management of the Holy Cross of Calinan High School from the PME fathers. That's our school. And in 1962, the sisters were again invited by the OMI fathers to administer the Notre Dame of Mlang in Mlang, Cotabato. Meanwhile, the growth of parishes in the Davao provinces led the PME fathers to turn over the administration of their parochial schools. So that's the reason why a lot of the PM are managing the the schools of the parishes that the PME built. Thus, in 1963, the Holy Cross of Mintal, Davao City, was turned over to the PM Sisters, followed by the Holy Cross of Malita, Davao del Sur, in 1964, and the Holy Cross of Malalag, Davao del Sur, in 1967. In 1980, they took over St. Michael's School of Padada, Davao del Sur, from the missionaries of the Immaculate Conception. In 1984, the Bishop of Digos, Davao del Sur, turned over the administration of Holy Cross of Santa Maria. During Sister Elenita Baguio's time as the fourth regional superior of the Philippine region, the sisters were invited to take over the administration of Christ the King Academy in Antiquiera, Bohol. This gave the sisters of the Presentation of Mary the strength to widen their horizons by penetrating the Visayas and Luzon provinces, later to continue the evangelical mission of the Philippines to evangelize the whole of Asia. Of course, the early years were filled with challenges, post-war poverty, lack of resources, and rebuilding infrastructure meant that the sisters often worked with little. But with faith, perseverance, and support of communities, PM schools stabilized and grew by the end of the decade. Their presence became a symbol of resilience and hope. And a lot of our schools now are being certified and accredited by the Federation of Accredited
5 minutes.
Foundations.
5.
What distinguished the PM schools was not their academic curriculum, but the deep integration of faith, leadership, and community service. Education was seen as a mission, not just a profession. PM schools were co-managed by religious sisters and dedicated lay personnel, supported by the local clergy. This collaboration ensured sustainability even as the mission expanded. Students engaged in structured learning, but also in catechism classes and community outreach and leadership programs. The goal was not just to reach minds, but to form hearts, to produce graduates who were not only intelligent, but compassionate and morally grounded. In conclusion, the story of the presentation of Mary in Asia, particularly in the Philippines, is far more than a chapter of religious history. It is a radiant tapestry of mission, resilience, and hope. It embodies the dream of Saint Marie Rivi, the foundress, who once envisioned that someday my daughters will cross the seas. That dream took root in the Philippines, where the sisters shared charism of education and service, and where, in Bohol, the final miracle that secured Saint Marie Rivi's canonization unfolded, forever binding the Philippine journey with her enduring legacy. The PM played a pivotal role in rebuilding post-war education, addressing both material and spiritual hunger of the Filipino people. Their schools became pillars of learning, sanctuaries of faith, and launchpads for social mobility. Communities once marginalized gained access to quality education, and through this, broke cycles of poverty and illiteracy. Students were not only taught to read and write, but lead with values, and serve with humility, and live with purpose. Today, the legacy of the PM congregation lives on, and in many institutions they established, the countless students they formed, and the communities they uplifted. Their mission to educate, to serve, and to witness Christ remains deeply relevant in our time. And we reflect on this rich history. May we be inspired to carry forward the same spirit of commitment and compassion, especially as we face today's challenges in education and faith. Let us remember, mission is not bound by time, and education is not limited by place. With faith and courage, like the sisters of the Presentation of Mary, we too can shape hearts, build communities, and transform lives. Thank you. Maraming salamat in Filipino.